What is good, all of our listeners and viewers? Welcome back to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And we all made it out of 2020! Woo-hoo! We're here with episode 131, where we're going to be talking about how much information do you need when releasing a game with our very special guest, Mike Fury. But first, we've got some segments for you. Yes, we do! Okay, so here we are. We're out of 2020. We're officially in 2021.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Wow. Everything's going to go back to normal. My beard's going to grow back.
I mean, well, that's just general.
It was just
biology.
tragic. No, it was just tragic. It almost made it out of 2020, and then 2020 took my beard.
You took your beard.
No. 2020 took it.
You're not part of this anymore.
No. Welcome back, everybody, to another Games and Groceries episode. Sorry for the cringe. But yeah, we're here with another episode for you, and we just want to jump ahead to the first segment. We want to bring on our guests pretty soon, but just another bit of announcement. If it hasn't been clear already, we're starting a second channel. It's going to be called eVaults. We haven't released the channel yet. It's going to be similar to coffee games that we've been releasing on this channel, and a little bit of like the green screen videos that we used to release. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of combination. It's going to be a lot more creative. It's not going to be a set schedule. It's just going to be when the video is finished. But we hope you're looking forward to it. But this is just going to be a podcast channel. So only the Games and Groceries podcast will be on this channel. Mm-hmm. But be on the lookouts around the third week of this month for the new channel. Yes. But let's just get started with some business here. We're on social media. We're on Twitter at Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
And you can follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word. We can see behind the scenes photos, some memes here and there, and also some questions that I'll ask you about the discussion that we'll have on this very podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and even Facebook, and we'll ask you a question about the podcast, and you can answer it and give your little opinions here and there. We also have a website, gamesandgroceries.com, where you can listen to all the podcasts from the website, as well as you can find out where you can listen to the audio versions of the podcast, as well as some articles I've written in the past. And if you're so inclined, if you like gaming podcasts such as this one, hi, how you doing? Are you watching it on YouTube? That's really convenient, because you can go ahead and click that subscribe button and a notification bell, so you know when all these podcasts come out, and as well as checking out our other channel, eVault. But if you want to hear us just blab along some more, we just talk about anything, just me and Liz. We also have another podcast, What's the Biz? There's a link down below, audio only, but yeah, check it out for yourself. And with all that said and done, let's just get started with our first segment.
Movie Minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about what are you doing? Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about the movies in the past week, and whether it be on Netflix, Hulu, or HBO Max, if we like to rank it or give you a recommendation or not a recommendation. Who do you think you are?
I'm Adam.
Goodness. So as we said before, we're going to be doing also HBO Max shows on our movies on Movie Minutes. And there's a pretty big one. We were about to do a Netflix movie for this, but, we're kind of late to the game here, but we kind of want to give our opinions of an HBO Max sort of exclusive. It's in theaters now, or you can stream it for a month on HBO Max. I think you know where I'm going with this. It's Wonder Woman 1984. Pew, 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 pew. So usually we'll say our recommendations or our ratings for last. And we have a 5-point scale here on Games Groceries. So we start at avoid at all costs, pass, enjoyable, solid, and perfect for us. But this week, instead of saving the review for last, we're going to share our final rankings and explain why, because it's kind of an interesting one. So with Wonder Woman 1984, you gave it
I gave it a pass.
And I also gave it pass.
Yeah.
And what we mean by pass is just that if you want to watch it, sure, but ultimately, pass.
It's nothing that you need to rush if you intend on watching it.
So let's explain why it's just pass. So I want to first start with my first note here. Within the first 30 minutes of the movie,
Mhm.
I would say. And by the way, it's 2.5 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 hours and 32 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
The tone of the sequel is way cheesier than the first one.
Mhm.
And it's not to say that movies can't change their tone,
Yeah.
but this was not even a tone change. This was just came off cheesy writing,
yeah, it was
like a movie that came out in
cheap writing. It felt like it was a 90s movie where
80s,
like
90s.
they made it seem like this was a new concept.
Yeah.
And it wasn't at all.
Mhm.
It very much it felt like a very 90s villain,
Yes.
90s save. It was not pleasant.
Yeah. And I don't want to go into too many spoilers here because,
Yeah.
as we said, if you really want to watch it, it was fine. So I don't want to spoil it just in case you do want to see it. But yes, like you said, the villain in of himself, he came off just like a 90s villain with motives that just was more of a motivation for giving a lesson to the audience rather than
Yeah.
actual motivation where you can get behind the villain, which we've come to expect out of big superhero movies,
Yeah.
where we get to not really side with the villain but understand their
See the
motivations.
humanity
Yes.
almost.
And this one, you get to see, the humanity, but really you knew what was coming.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, and the humanity again. It was a cheap humanity.
Yes.
Like that final moment, it was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. But it wasn't anything deep. His motivation was shallow. Like it was very 90s, where it's just like he kind of just decided this is what he was gonna do one day, and it makes no sense.
Now, I will say, coming to the actual movie length, I said this is 2.5 hours long. I believe the first film was 2, if I'm right.
I think so.
I don't think it was 2.5. I think it was 2
yeah.
hours. It's 2.5 hours, and most of this runtime is fillers.
Mhm.
I watched a couple reviews of this, of just to refresh my mind a little bit, just to go into this.
Yeah.
Both reviewers noticed that there was a clean hour, 1 hour, where there was no action, all set
Wow.
up. It was
Wow.
just an hour between the first Wonder Woman action series
Mhm.
and then to the next one, which is On the Road.
Yeah.
That's an hour of just setup and filler and just
Wow.
pointless montages.
Mm.
And it's just filled with that kind of filler. And it is enjoyable filler. It's fine the
yeah,
way it
it's
is.
still entertaining.
But I kept saying to you that this particular scene could have been cut in half and it would have
Oh,
been
yeah.
fine. This scene it was fine. It was enjoyable.
I said a whole character could be cut out.
yeah.
Like there was a character that really served no purpose. They could have done other things with the small things that this character
And we don't want to go into spoilers
Yeah.
here, but
with the small things this character did put towards the story could have been done another way and saved so much time by not focusing on this character.
exactly. It's in contrast with another movie we watched just last night. We finally watched Underwater.
Mm-hmm.
It only took a year. But we watched Underwater, which is an hour and a half, and it just very little setup. It's just like here's where the setting is. Here's what the antagonist is. The actual. What am I talking about? The actual problem.
Antagonist is the right.
Yeah.
It's the
There's very little setup.
driving enemy force.
Yes. And the movie just goes at a really nice pace, whereas this one, it's all set up.
Yeah.
It is all set
Yeah.
up, and it's just so long.
Actually, with you saying that, it does kind of, thinking back to the movie, it does feel like the entire movie was just a setup to the end.
It really was.
Like, and I know that sounds kind of stupid. It's like, well, isn't every movie a setup to the end? But this really just felt like these are the things that are happening
Mhm.
that put us at the end. Like, they saved all their energy for the end, and the end wasn't even that good.
The ending, I will say, without going into spoilers, it was incredibly anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It was just so
It was like, that's it.
it was like a guy jumping from a cliff into like a pool. You're expecting a big cannonball blast, and it goes bloop.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, okay. And finally, the movie has a lot of it has a lot of great scenes.
Yeah.
It does. And I will give it that. When it does something good, it does something good. It
Yeah.
does something great.
Yeah.
But however, it's just plagued with editing problems.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing when you're making YouTube videos, or yes, we don't really cut anything out from the podcast, blah, 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 but when you're really talking about edits and pacing, when you get into the editing room, you really need to cut time.
Yeah.
There's times where, I'll have a half-hour footage and you'll even ask me, what time would you like this to? I'm like, let's do 18, really cut out that stuff. And editing really comes into play here, and it's plagued with those problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I put a joke here. It makes a wish that it can't take away. No, that's stupid. It's very ambitious, was what I'm trying to say. It was very ambitious.
Yeah, just like that joke.
Thank you.
That wasn't a compliment.
Thank you. But as we're running out of time here, so it takes a lot of ambitious moves, but I feel like it could have been cut a lot.
Yes, definitely.
Any final thoughts?
Not really. Like we said, if you want to see this movie, like if you've wanted to see it, you've been excited for it, you're a big DC fan, don't understand that, but whatever. If you're a big DC fan, you're a big Wonder Woman fan, watch it, but there's no rush. I think it's something that you can wait till you can buy it or rent it after it's out of theaters.
It's fine.
Or, I mean, if you have HBO Max, I wouldn't say this is a reason to get HBO Max, but if you already have it, if you really want to watch it, go ahead. But
that's fair.
For us, we're not only bigger Marvel fans, but for just with the amount of movies we've watched and seen, this isn't high up for us at all.
I will say, if you're looking for another DC film, we also watched Birds of Prey on HBO Max. Highly recommend that one.
Yes, that one was good.
But that's Wonder Woman 1984. We gave it a pass. If you want to watch it, sure, fine, but don't really rush to see it. That's what we're trying to say. But yeah, let's just go on to some video game news. What do you think? Cool. I agree with you and me. So let's just jump into it with our second segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw in the past week. We like to rank it 3, 2, 1, just to give you a condensed version of what's going on in the gaming industry. So not much is happening in the gaming industry. Moving on to our final segment. But all honesty.
It was some work looking for or getting these top 3.
Yeah. There's not much going on. It's, it's December going into January. Not much is going on in the gaming industry.
It was the week
right
between the 2 holidays.
Yeah. And so, for the next couple weeks, it's going to be kind of, slower news, but there is news nonetheless. Let's just start with our number 3 gaming news, which is about CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. Wow. CD Projekt Red is getting sued by investors.
That's not surprising.
Not at all. But CD Projekt Red is now getting sued with class action lawsuits against investors, and CD Projekt Red themselves have come out to say that they will vigorously put out defenses against these lawsuits.
Goodness gracious.
So I want to read this quote. All of the articles will be linked in the description down below if you want to read it for yourself. But the article then states, it acknowledges that the lawsuit is meant for the court to decide, quote, whether the actions undertaken by the company and members of its management board in connection with the release of Cyberpunk 2077 constituted a violation of federal laws, i.e., by misleading investors and consequently causing them to incur damages. CD Projekt Red also notes that the complaint does not specify the quantity of damages sought, and that it will, as previously mentioned, undertake vigorous actions to defend itself against any such claims. No crap.
I feel like they just went, loophole.
Yeah. I mean, really, and here's the interesting part about this news piece, is that investors are putting out this class action lawsuit saying that CD Projekt Red put out claims that they thought they were going to get their money back. Well, I feel like it's investors who were prodding CD Projekt Red to release it sooner.
Yeah.
So of course, the management board is like saying, like, sure, it's ready to be put out. Like, you better put it out. I guess, sure.
They got to a point where it was either put it out or investors start pulling, and then you'd never put it out.
And so they got scared that the investors were pulling. So I guess CD Projekt Red might have, said like, no, it's ready to release. It's fine. Don't pull out, And they lost $1 billion.
Yeah.
And their stock market just crashed.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see that investors are taking the class action lawsuit against this whole thing. And of course, the consumers are getting their refunds.
Yeah.
But apparently, CD Projekt Red will vigorously defend themselves, which, no duh. Like, you're not going to be like,
You're going to be like, understandable. Here you go.
But it is what it is. I hope they get justice. I don't know.
I'm not really sure whose side to take.
I don't know.
Because like you said, it's like the investors were pushing for it, but also CD Projekt Red did lie to them and say the game was ready, and clearly it wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you're both in the wrong. And I don't want CD Projekt Red to just like go down because of this single action.
Right.
But at the same time, they did release an unfinished game rather than like, and at the same time, they're the ones that didn't have the game ready. Like they've been working on this forever.
Yeah. 7 or 8 years. Yeah.
Exactly. 7 or 8 years. It shouldn't be this bad.
It shouldn't. It should not.
So it's not fully the investors' fault for rushing them. They're like, guys, you've been on this for a while.
It seems like the same story as Anthem, where EA was telling them that, like, listen, we gave you 8 years and you took the last some odd months.
Exactly.
18 months, I think they said. But EA gave them so much leeway.
Exactly.
And BioWare was just like, no, it's fine. But
so you can't fully blame the investors.
Yeah.
On rushing them. It's like they didn't rush them till the last, couple pushbacks.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, we'll hold back on releasing. Well, it's like, all right, well, of course the investors are getting annoyed. They're not making any money yet.
I don't know. It's all money jargon, but what do you think? Write your thoughts in the comments down below. I think both are being stupid, but it is what it is. Why don't we move on to the number 2 gaming news? And speaking of number 2, Bully 2 will never release. What the heck? So Bully 2, again, this is, I finally get to do this. I don't know where the button is. I might ruin something. Rumor alert! Rumor alert, everybody. So this is a rumor coming from a forum board, which 2 insiders from Rockstar Games came out to say that Bully 2 has been canceled for a 3rd time back in 2017 to make room for Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 6. So I don't want to read this quote again from the article, which is linked down below, which states, come on now, thank you. According to GTA forum posts via DualShockers, from former Rockstar insider Tez2, the studio began pre-production on Grand Theft Auto 6 in 2015. Within a couple of years, Tez2 alleges the project entered full production. However, this momentum slowed to a halt because of the increased focus on Red Dead Redemption 2 and Bully's sequel. The former insider then goes to note, Bully 2 was canned in 2017, so I presume they did that to focus on GTA 6. This detail eventually made its way to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, where another insider, Yan2295, said to Tez2's comment, yeah, he's right. So what they're saying here is that allegedly, now, Bully 2 has been in pretty much development hell. I believe it was canceled in 2008 and also 2012. I want to say it was 2012 as well. And now 2017 to make more room for GTA 6. And what they were saying is that Bully 2 was in development alongside Red Dead Redemption 2. And it never was going to come out. And for those who are wondering, why is Bully 2 such a big deal? It's because that Bully came out, the first Bully came out on the PS2 in 2006.
Yeah.
It has been 14 years, and people are still wondering, where's the sequel? Because Rockstar keeps like putting out their like little leaks here and there. Bully 2's a thing. Bully 2's a thing. But it's been 14 years. Like, just say it's not a thing. We'll accept it.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think?
Well, I was saying to you when you told me about this gaming news earlier in the week, I said to you, I'm like, I needed details so I could like actually think about it. But people have been waiting for Bully 2 since 2006.
2006.
Whereas you're on the 6th GTA. The last one you said was out in 2015?
2013.
Either way, doesn't
Yes.
matter. It's over 6 years.
Yeah.
After the first Bully.
Yes.
So it's like, if people are wanting Bully 2 and you clearly want to make Bully 2,
Then
do that first. We have plenty of GTAs.
Mhm.
Trust me. It can wait.
And plus, GTA 5 has been in the top 10 most selling games since its launch.
So they're not losing money on not putting out another
No, they're not.
GTA. Like, that can clearly wait. Whereas Bully 2, people have been waiting for over 10 years.
Over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's longer than Skyrim or like Elder Scrolls fans have been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6.
Exactly. That's That's bad. That's
Mhm.
really bad. So it's like, if you clearly want to make it, there's clearly a fan base that will buy it. Then just make it already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for me, it's just like I don't understand the attraction of GTA, so I will automatically say that.
Mhm.
But still, you're comparing a 6th installment that you don't need right now to a 2nd installment that people really want.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
So before we get into our number one gaming news, yeah, it's just one of those things that I just wish that Bully 2 just wasn't a thing. It just keeps getting canceled. It's always in development hell at this point. So I just wish that, Rockstar would just come out and say, like, it's just not a thing anymore. I would prefer that better, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. I don't know if Bully 2 would strike audiences the way they did in 2006. Yeah, it's a much different climate than it was back then. But, we'll see. I would play Bully 2, but, who knows? We always need GTA 6, I guess. Oh, well, too bad. So sad. But Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, so that was a killer game. Beat it twice, and I love it. But let's move on to the number one gaming news, which is about Star Citizen. Oh, that game that was always out. That's always in a Kickstarter mode. And it has raised since 2012, its first Kickstarter. Back in 2012, it's raised over $339 million in Kickstarters. And they just canceled their demo.
Didn't we report on the same game
Yes.
before about something else?
About how much money it made.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, that was it.
And now it was supposed to have this Squadron 42 demo, which Squadron 42 was its narrative-driven plot. Like it was its story game within Star Citizen. It was going to star Mark Hamill for one of them. There was a couple other ones. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was supposed to be a demo out for... or a beta, I should say. A beta for Squadron 42 out for backers. And they put out a blog post saying, like, sorry, they don't have it anymore. Sorry. We want to put it out when it's perfect. When it's perfect. It has been since 2012.
Well, they've been working on this picture for 9 years.
2012. And you've raised $339 million. And it's just like, not quite yet. Are you kidding me? There's AAA studios out there that would murder for that kind of money.
Yeah.
Are you absolutely out of your freaking mind? Why? And that's the thing. They're basically an indie studio, and they have the likes of Mark Hamill coming on for this game, and yet they're just like, no. And they've actually since deleted the beta for Squadron 42. It's just bananas to me that people actually backed this game, and they continually back this game, and yet people just have faith that someday this game will be released. It's been in the works since 2012. It's been in the works since 2012. Can I repeat that one more time? Since 2012, and it's raised over
2010?
2012 and has raised over $300 million, and yet can't even put out a beta to a game.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Stop backing this game. Stop wasting your money on this awful game that will never release ever. It might never release. Let's be honest here. It might never release at this point. If
I would
you
say that's accurate.
if you thought Cyberpunk's development cycle and you kept thinking that game would never release, at least there was some promise with Cyberpunk. And even if it came out a buggy mess, at least the game released.
Yeah.
You can say that at least Cyberpunk released. But consumers are actually backing this game that has the likes of Mark Hamill, that has the likes of all this funding here, and yet you're not getting anything back. You might never see this game ever. And it's just bananas to me that
honestly, I think it would be even funnier if Star Citizen came out and it was like just a horrible game, horrible graphics, buggy mess.
Yeah.
Like it was just the worst thing ever. I would think that's really bad for people who gave money to it, but also hilarious.
So I want to read this quote from Chris Roberts, who is the head director over at this game. And he says, in the note to the donors, Roberts said, Squadron 42 will be done when it's done, and will not be released just to make a date. He also said RSI would not show any of the Squadron 42 gameplay, locations, or assets in lieu of a beta because the game is too far from a full launch and to begin marketing campaign. Okay, let me finish this. If we show the non-spoiler gameplay now, that's prime footage and gameplay that we could have used closer to release, Roberts says. It's been since 2012.
Like,
why?
Just to make a date. Okay, I understand that and I respect that. But what have you been doing?
What have you been doing with all those people's money?
Like, what have you been doing all these years? Not even with the money, but what have you been doing all these years? What have you been working on?
And they keep saying it's like, well, with more money.
How is a beta not in good enough condition? You should have had the game out by now, or at least almost be releasing soon.
And that's the thing. It's just like they keep taking people's money. You can. Here's the thing. Let me tell you something, Chris Roberts. There's a thing on Kickstarter that you can stop taking people's money. You can stop taking people's money. Let me repeat that one more time. If you didn't, you can stop taking people's money. And that's the thing. You keep saying all this crap about, oh, well, the more funding we get, the more ambitious we get. No, you don't have to. You can just
you can just stick with what you have now.
This is what we have. This is it. Got it.
Like, that's an amazing amount of funding.
And that's the thing. It's just so selfish of him to actually close. And when I say selfish, it's true. This isn't investors we're talking about. This is people like me and you.
Yeah.
Who are doing a Kickstarter. This isn't like big wig investors.
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, you don't even have to deal with businessmen investors breathing down your necks, rushing you or anything. You have people who really want to play this game and don't care if you've got a couple glitches or if anything like that. Exactly. You just have to release a beta. A beta is supposed to be insane.
My point in this, and it's time to bring on our guest. But my point in this is, if you're funding this game, if you're thinking about funding Star Citizen, stop. Don't do it. Don't even try to fund them until they release a beta, until they release some information, not just willy-nilly ambitious promises. Keep funding Adams Ascending. That's a guy that we've had on 3 times on the show, Nick DiPaolo, and he's honest with his work. He's a good person. He actually released his game early access. And so that's a game you can be funding and supporting. This game is never going to come out. Stop funding it. Don't make this guy think about ambitious dreams. He has to stop taking people's money. That's all I got to say.
You okay, babe?
Mike Fury's on the show. Whoa! So, Mike Fury, if you don't know, he's a YouTuber. He does informative videos about certain video games. Right now, he's doing a lot of information about Cyberpunk 2077, how you can get certain weapons, what there is about a game. He does Wombo Convos. He's got a whole channel with all sorts of gaming information. So I wanted to bring him on to talk about how much information do you want about a game before it releases, much like Star Citizen, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, I think it's just time to bring him on. Let's just bring on our guest before I go back to Star Citizen. Let's just bring him on. It's Mike Fury.
Woohoo! Coffee time.
Alrighty, buddy, we are back with our very special guest, the beast from the east, the one who smokes hands and feet. It's Mike Fury. Mike, how you doing?
Oh man, I am doing great. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Just surviving. Now we're surviving 2021. We
Yeah.
can't say anymore that we're surviving 2020.
We'll see what 2021 has in store.
Yeah. How was your
Let's
New
hope
Year's?
for great things. New Year's was quiet.
Yeah.
See, like a lot of my family members are they're in a different country. Well, I'm from New York, but
Yeah.
my parents are from Dominican Republic,
Okay.
and like half my family's over there. So over here it's just like me and my little brother, and it's just quiet, like nothing much,
Mhm.
nothing went on. Very
Yeah.
calm New Year's for the first time in like in a long
Yeah.
time. We
Yeah.
watched a little bit of that, like of the Dick Clark's or Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, and it was just like it was super weird. Like there's no crowd,
Yeah.
and everybody's just like in their little box, like
Yeah.
dancing. I was like, this is weird.
This
I
is
don't
just
like
strange.
Yeah.
I don't like this. It's like eerie. Ugh.
Yeah.
But Mike, we wanted to bring you on because you have a channel called Mike Fury, which we'll link down below. Definitely check it out. And you're very informative. You're on your channel. You're trying to give information, whether it be through conversations or just telling people how to get certain weapons in the game or anything. You just like to give out information so that the player has a better experience in the game that they're doing. And we wanted to bring you on for this very conversation that we're going to be talking about, which is how much information do you want from a game before it releases? So let's just set up the conversation in of itself here. What sorts of information do we want from a company when they're releasing a new game? And let's take it 2 steps. Whether it be a new game from a same IP or a brand new IP at all, like a brand new IP, kind of like Starfield, let's say, that I haven't been talking about enough on this podcast.
Not at all.
Mike, let's start with you. How much information personally for you would you like a game company to give you?
Okay, so I'll split it into 2 parts, just like we had mentioned. When it comes to already established titles, we want to know that there's improvements being made.
Yeah.
So established, like let's say on an Elder Scrolls, if Elder Scrolls comes out looking like Skyrim, like if the new one comes out looking like Skyrim, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
Not because of anything, but it's like it's been what, like 8, 9, like whenever it comes out, it's gonna be almost a decade.
Yeah.
So like you want to know that there's gonna be improvements, and you want to know that you're bringing new things to, like, not only improvements graphically, sonically, et cetera, et cetera. You want to know that there's new mechanics being added to the game. Because as great as Skyrim is, again, if you give me something that I've already known, it's like you're taking a half step instead of taking a full step forward. So you can do it like I'm no what's it called? I'm no
expert
promotion manager. You know, like the way that they
yes.
trailer. I'm not no social media guy, none of that, please. But it's I would do it as in, okay, so we're gonna give you the full. I'll even go as far as to give full gameplay loop. Like this is what you're gonna be doing for the most part of the game. You're gonna be going on quests. You're gonna be doing this. You're gonna be doing that. And then, like in many micro conversations where interviews, like little conversations with YouTubers, et cetera, podcasts, I would let little like instances out, like not give you full, like give you half information. Like, oh, did you guys in Skyrim? There's not in Skyrim, I apologize. In the brand new Elder Scrolls, there's this brand new mechanic that we made.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, oh, what, really? Expand more. And then you'd be like, no, I can't tell you. Like, but you throw it out there. So like people's like, oh, what's that? Like,
okay.
So that would be for an established franchise already. Now for something brand new like Starfield, just information in general, because there is no expectation. It's like with Elden Ring.
Yes.
Like nobody talks about or mentions nothing. Like like it's like, oh, here's Elden Ring. Okay.
Yeah.
I would also get rid of all the fluff, like all the cinematic trailer, but it's not in the game. It's not even a cutscene in the game. And I'm just gonna show you, like, you guys been on Instagram or Twitter and anything, and they'll show you like, oh, there's this mobile game, and they'll give you a trailer that has nothing to do with what you're actually doing in the game.
Like Toon Blast.
Get rid of all of that. Get rid of all of that. I want to know what exactly this game is about, what we will be doing. Any information that's concrete information and not misleading anybody is probably the best information for a brand new franchise.
I agree, especially now the cinematic trailers with the CGI. I don't mind one trailer just to hype things up. I like the way Assassin's Creed Valhalla did it, where they had that cinematic trailer, and I feel like if it wasn't the same day, it was the very next day they had some more gameplay here and there, just to hype up like a little bit for an already established IP, like what Mike was saying. But for a new IP, get rid of it. Don't even give me like a CGI cinematic.
Tell me what's actually going to be happening in the game.
Yes, and that's the thing. I do agree with you, Mike, that with an already established, just give me some little bits. Yeah, like what you're saying with Elder Scrolls 6, which is going to be set in Hammerfell. Like let's be honest here. I liked how they just showed that little bit of in studio footage where they got the rocks, the way the mountains are going to be formed, and the way they got Shirley Curry to be formed into the game. Just that little bit. That's nice. But for, like you said, Elden Ring, which I believe it won in Game Awards for most anticipated game. And after that,
what are you anticipating?
What is anticipating? Nobody knows anything about it. It's just
you're anticipating knowing something about it.
And there was Miyazaki that came out and said, like, "Oh yeah, thanks for the award. I guess I should say something. It's coming." That's basically what he said. Like, "Oh yeah, it's progressing. It's fun. Yeah, but thank you for the nomination and a win. Cool." Yeah.
What kind of dub is that? That's almost a participation trophy.
I know.
What are we doing?
Talk about like getting rid of fluff. Let's talk about the Game Awards. Like get rid of that fluff.
Yeah. Oh, don't even.
Not all of it. He has some good ideas. It's just like it looks a certain type of way when Last of Us just
sweeps
kind of spearheads and sweeps everybody. It just looks a weird way.
Yeah, same thing with 2000. Okay, we're getting off track.
I said don't get started.
It's all good though.
I was just gonna say 2018 with Red Dead Redemption 2.
You weren't supposed to say anything. You're supposed to stop.
Well, Liz, what do you think? What information do you want? Yeah.
So to take it on a different end, since I play more narrative-driven games, for me, for something like we'll go with Life is Strange.
Yes.
When getting a new installment of that, I want to know about who we're focusing on and what their story is. I don't necessarily need to know like what their superpower would be. It would be nice to know, but at the same time, that kind of leaves that bit of mystery. But just to kind of know like who we're focusing on, what their story is, like just get that little bit of like, this is what we're doing. This is why you should be excited for this new installment. Just learning about the characters you're introducing, or even if it was something where you're focusing on the same characters, it's like, what's going to be the driving plot of this installment? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then for something that's new, like for me this year was Tell Me Why. Yes. That was new. It's kind of still, for me, it's kind of the same when it comes to narrative driven games, actually. It's like, what's the driving plot? And tell me a little bit about the characters. And that's it. Don't give me trailers that are going to basically tell me the whole story. Don't give me every information. Like, I don't want to know everything, but give me enough information that like, it's like, this seems interesting. I want to play this. Yeah. Like, that's all I need. Just enough.
Yeah. Preach, Queen.
Two things.
Yeah. Go for it.
Preach, Queen. Two things, and they both fit into the whole narrative. I think they suffer from movie-itis. You've seen movie trailers and TV shows that basically give you the exact, like, here's the story and exactly what we're going to give you in the trailer. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't want all of that. Yeah. And then two, I wouldn't mind you giving me a scene of not like its best moment, but give me a scene of tension, of like something that you can tell, like, wow, that was excellently done from just like an artistic perspective. Like, wow, the way that they wrote her character or that moment, like, You can just give little tidbits like that to get people excited. You don't have to just show off every single little thing.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
what was it? There was a game that released like, he's an already, I think it was a transgender character.
Oh, that's Tell Me Why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were like, he's already transgender. Fam, I would have liked to learn that in the game. I don't need to know that he's a transgender character off rip, but I understand the times. I understand what everybody's doing. Like, I got why they came out and said that, but
it would have made a more interesting story if it's something that you learned like in that first couple minutes.
Organically.
Yeah.
Organically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and that's the thing. It kind of draws a line there. And again, a little side note here. It kind of draws a line. Were they just using the transgender aspect as a marketing ploy to say that buy this game because?
Yeah.
Or did they want to make sure that there is transgender representation? And I think there's a line there where, which is another conversation, were they just using it for marketing tactics, information to get you to buy the game, or marketing tactics to give you information about a new IP? And that's the thing. Yeah, both. Yeah,
I would say both.
Yeah, from the developers, creatively, but then also from the investors who want you to get their money back.
Yeah.
You know. And that's kind of what's pushed forward to another piece of conversation that I wanted to give out is that it's not giving enough information. And the game I think of off rip is Mass Effect Andromeda. That's what I was thinking of, Andromeda, where they gave very little information when that game was coming out. Absolutely nothing, but everybody was just like, it's Mass Effect, it's Mass Effect. The question I want to ask, though, as we push forward in this conversation, is not giving enough information almost immoral to the consumer, or can we count it as just company preference, quote unquote? What do we think about that? Mike, why don't you start?
It's the worst thing you could possibly do, but I would ask your question. I would answer your question with another question.
Okay.
Is lying immoral?
Are we talking about Cyberpunk now?
No, in general. In general, if lying is immoral, then half truths, half like not giving full information. If lying is immoral, then that's immoral too. And in which case, Andromeda, Anthem, like Fallout 76, 16 times the detail. We already know everything about that. Like, yes, it's immoral. And the problem is you can't even, because it comes out eventually, and then you just basically look like nobody wins from it. Just if you know that it's a piece of, you know what, cancel the game. Back to but since you guys want to recoup the money that was already invested, and we'll take this L, we're gonna take this loss as a company, and we're gonna put out, and we're just gonna basically lie to everybody, telling everybody that it's gonna be a more complete game. It's gonna be more like, it's definitely immoral in my personal.
And I think that, and I like what you said, that is lying immoral, and I like what you bring up there. Talking as somebody who has failed philosophy twice in college, I didn't do too well with the gray morality.
I only failed once.
It's a long story.
I passed it twice.
I passed twice.
I passed
one
once.
in VR and one here.
Liz, you are very much in the gray area. I think very black and white. I think like it's a lie or it's not a lie. And I've grown to be more in the gray morality. But really, going back to your point, Mike, is lying immoral? Would not giving information, is that a lie? And I think it could be, because you're not. Now that's the question. No information. They don't tell you a thing. Would that be considered lying?
Personally, anytime that happens in movies and TV shows, they're like, you lied. It's like, no, I just didn't tell you information. They're like, that's a lie. To me, I don't count that as a lie because you didn't say anything. That's omitting the truth. Or not omitting truth. It's just not you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
But no one, if you weren't asked that direct question and they didn't say anything about it, that's not a lie. You're just not giving them information.
That's true.
It's just withholding information.
And the way I think about it, though, is that there's always profit involved, though.
Yeah.
So I feel like not giving information, but you're saying, why should I buy your game? But remaining silence. I don't think you can remain ultimately silent about your game, because even in the game No Man's Sky, there was some information.
Yeah, but for me, it's you if you apply that to other products outside of games, everyone only tells you the good parts of the product. They're only going to say, well, when people ask, why should I buy it? They're not going to say, well, it's a really great story and it does this, but there's like 10,000 glitches. They're not going to say that. Just like, why should I buy this phone? It's like, well, it can do this, this, and this, but it crashes every 10 minutes. Like, they're not going to say that. Like, of course, if you ask, why should I buy it? They're not going to say what's bad about it. They're going to say, well, this is all the great things about it.
Yeah, true.
They're not going to tell you what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. Mike, any thoughts?
Think about it like, have you guys ever seen the commercials of Viagra?
Sure.
Or anything, Viagra, Cialis, any medicine where they go, oh, it's gonna do this. It's like erectile dysfunction, and it'll make you feel vigorous, and all of that. And then right at the end of the commercial, it goes, can cause nausea, can cause diarrhea, it's the same exact thing. The only difference is when we're buying a game or we're buying a certain product, they're just going to give you the good part and not tell you the bad part.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I think I do lean towards Mike in saying that not giving information is immoral. I don't think we can count it as company preference. Like, oh, we just don't prefer. Now the way
I'm not saying they're right in doing it. I'm just saying that's why they do that.
Oh yeah, I know why they do it. And I like. It goes back to Sean Murray again with No Man's Sky. We reported on a story before after No Man's Sky where he just kept talking. Like he kept like hyping it up. Now he's going on the basically a stoic way of thinking where he's just saying, I'm not going to say anything until the game is nearing release and I can actually put out the right information.
Yeah.
So not giving information until you have information, I think is the right way to do. But when's the right time to give that information? And I guess my follow-up to this question is, what is the minimum amount of information that you can give without it being immoral? You know what I mean? Like what we talked about with Elder Scrolls 6, you know, we just got little rocks here and there. We got like a little cinematic of Hammerfell. We got Shirley Curry's face. Is that the minimum we need? Shirley Curry's face, a rock, and a CGI trailer? Or do we need more information?
I mean, am I gonna go?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you're our guest.
Because okay, so what I wouldn't mind seeing like a sword or an armor set just designed. Like they can definitely give us more and still keep it within. This is still in the game, because what makes it immoral is the lying aspect of it. Yeah. Like if you were to show me, hey, this is what a dragon looks like, and then I come back to the game and the dragons look absolutely nothing like that, now it becomes immoral. Because you lied.
Yeah.
So you can, like, and to combine both, like the Sean Murray did, I would like to say he gave a half-truth, because those things that he was he was telling, oh, it's going to have a multiplayer, and then people are going to be able to get together, and like all of this, every single question, just yes. He eventually gave us that.
Yeah.
I'm still you're talking to a person that will never play No Man's Sky because he blatantly lied to my face. And I will never purchase it, never buy it, never play it. Cyberpunk is a little bit different because a lot of people think that Cyberpunk like burned the console version. I bought it on PC. I had a solid experience. It's a little different. No Man's Sky just had absolutely nothing at launch and then grew to be great. So his was more, he should have just clarified, it will have all of these things later.
Yes.
And he would have been golden. He would have been so golden and be like, but at the start, this is what you get. Like, and then people wouldn't be surprised. We'd be like, okay, but that also affects
the
money.
moolah.
So I understand why he withheld that information, but also that is the proper way to do it. Shut the hell up and go back to work type of. So if you have information to give, like, nobody else, like, you guys make podcasts in video format and audio format. I make videos. Any type of creative or artist wants to shout out that his whatever product is great.
Yes.
Like, you want to showcase that, and especially if you believe that it is. But why tell you that I have great armor and dragons and whatever, like in the new Elder Scrolls, and then not have anything solidified yet. And then it turns out, guess what? We don't have the budget to put dragons in the game. Now you look like a total buffoon in front of everybody. So just like you said, wait until you have concrete information, show it off, talk about it, and then you're in the clear because it's already in the game. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And I kind of want to take what you just said there, kind of segue it to the opposites, giving too much information. And I like what you said there, that you almost give too much information before you even have the budget to put that game in. So let's say you do show all these dragons and swords, but then you end up with no budget to do that. When is it too much information given? Let's stay away from like the obvious, the entire game. Like just put a whole Let's Play out there. The one example I think of was when Life is Strange 2 was first being put out there, and they released the opening scene for Life is Strange 2 before the game came out.
I was so mad at that.
And the whole setup, and I won't spoil it here in case you haven't played Life is Strange, but like the whole setup, the emotional drive to a game.
Yeah.
And once you actually play the game, you're just like,
it's like, well, I know I can't change this.
Yeah.
So why bother?
And I played the intro completely differently.
Yeah.
Because I knew what was about to happen.
Yeah.
And that sucked. So I want to bring it to the opposite. When is it too much information? Leaning away from the extreme of just putting out a Let's Play of the entire game. Yeah. Mike, you were kind of leaning towards that. Any other thoughts towards that? Too much information.
Too much information.
Do you think
it all depends?
Exists? Yeah.
Because I feel like Fallout 4 for me gave too much information.
Yeah, agreed.
Everything that was cool-ish in Fallout 4 was already given. We knew that they had a crafting system to make homes better.
Yes.
As crappy as it was, but
yeah.
They had that. We knew that guns, that there was legendary, that it was more like a Borderlands than in a traditional Fallout sense. We knew we knew so much about Fallout 4 that any kind of barring quests, barring like boss battles, we didn't know any of that, but any other little thing you can find out, holy crap, we could actually do this, was already taken away because we already knew it by the trailers and everything, all the information that was out. So you have to give vital information. I'll say it that way. There's certain things that are just vital. Telling me that I'm going to be playing a looter shooter or an action RPG is vital information, because now my brain is set, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. So there's certain vital information. Oh, you're going to tell me about the world. Tell me about the world. Tell me how I traverse. I love, when you tell me about traversal, I get hyped. Because, for example, in Cyberpunk, he's agile. Double jump, charge jump, slides, crouches under objects, he's agile. So traversal movement is always going to be something essential. Guns and weapon variety, things of that nature. But if we take it to a Life is Strange, tell me love interest, show me love interest. Don't tell me exactly what the love interest is and what they're going on. Don't give me that information. Just show it to me.
Yeah.
Show me a quick little whatever, a kiss or another show me a little side character, a comedic side character that you guys added on.
Sure.
You can show these little things, but not give me too much. Trailers will be oh, he has a dark past and he's essentially a Final Fantasy character. I'm damn, I wanted to find out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the natural way that less is more when it comes to certain video games. And then like we already mentioned earlier, sometimes a brand new IP just needs to kind of just throw it all out there. This is what we are.
Exactly.
Please buy our game.
Yeah, with Elden Ring, we basically only know that George R. R. Martin, is that right?
That sounds right.
Correct,
yeah.
Correct.
George R. R. Martin is he's involved in Miyazaki, of course, with his style. That's pretty much what we know in the title and sort of the setting, kind of. Not really, but there needs to be more information put out there. And that's the thing. Do we think that too much information even exists aside from the extreme? What do you think, Liz?
I think too much information can exist. I think if you're putting out too much, then you're not creating that mystery or that like excitement, when you put out only so much for something that, like, say you've gotten people excited, you've told them the little bit and they're into it and you have a good solid fan base waiting for this game.
Yes.
Don't give that much information after that. You have them hooked. Just keep bringing that anticipation.
Yes.
With like, you don't need to keep talking. Like Mike had brought up No Man's Sky and he just like shared everything and he wouldn't shut up and he was just going on and on. That's too much information. Over promising is too much information. Don't promise what you haven't already completed. That's stupid.
Yeah. In any job.
In any job. Yeah. Don't over promise.
Yes.
And so I think that's a level of too much information when you're giving information on things that you don't even know if you can do yet. But also when you're almost annoying people with information. You should not have new news every single day. You know, just share a little bit that keeps people excited and remind them that your game's coming out. Yeah. But not so much that it's like, all right, we get it. It's okay. I'll remember now.
Yeah. And I do agree with that. It's that make sure that each one of your information pieces that you put out is memorable.
Yeah.
And I like the way Rockstar kind of puts out information. It almost seems like leaks, especially when they were promoting Red Dead Redemption 2. They were just putting out images of the game and kind of story here. And it kind of looked like leaks.
Yeah.
But really, it was just internal Rockstar just putting out information. And then we were just getting little nuggets of information.
Really liked the way Valhalla, they had that one video out of just showing someone doing the artwork.
You're talking with Boss Logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird though.
It was weird, but I really like it because I think that is a good way to get people hyped. Show them what the artwork will look like in the game and show kind of this is what the game is and this is the quality of picture you can look forward to.
Exactly.
And that's a perfect way to do it. It keeps them hype and it gives them information.
Yeah. And, like what Mike said, shout out to Boss Logic. Boss Logic, if you're watching this and you want to come on the show, go ahead. Just send me a DM. Let's go. But I kind of want to bring into the social media aspect because we got some social media answers. Woo! All right. We asked you on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Thank God we didn't get any answers from Facebook. It's just out there with your racist uncle. But we asked you on social media, how much information do you want a company to give to you before releasing a game? And we got 4 today. And I want to start with Twitter, and then we got 1 from Instagram. So we got, it's My Ketty, who says, actual gameplay. That's number 1, actual gameplay, which I agree with. Bare minimum about the story if it's a narrative heavy game. And the final thing she wants, I'd rather get a surprise announcement with this figured out than a very early show off of the game that ends up being nothing like it because the game dev is unpredictable by definition. Or game development. She meant game development is unpredictable by definition. And I love surprise announcements. When Unravel 2 was released, it was just during the Game Awards. Yeah. It was just like, Unravel 2, it's
Look,
a thing.
We made this.
And you can get it today.
Yeah.
Boom. Goodbye.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Gameplay, bare minimum about the story, and just a surprise announcement. Mike, what do you think about that?
It's the surprise announcement is the most interesting one because the problem is we live in an era where with social media, just look at the information you guys just got just now. Right. With social media, it makes it supremely everybody's the most connected they've ever been. It's super hard to keep something under wraps. Yeah. Fair. So it's I'm pretty sure that we all knew that GTA 6 was coming. But I'm pretty sure that unless there's a mastermind at Take-Two or at Rockstar that said, hey, just let them know that it's coming out. I'm pretty sure somebody leaked it. And then we just got information that they might have, and I'm praying that they didn't. They might have canceled.
We just reported that,
because of Red Dead Redemption. And that hurts. So it's how do you keep a game? I understand how an Arrival, what was it, Arrival 2 or Arrival the first one?
Unraveled 2.
Unravel 2.
I apologize. Unravel. I could understand how a small game like that could go under the radar and then pop up.
Fair.
Ta-da! You could do that, but we
Something
have
like Bullet
some
2.
behemoth-like titles in this gaming industry. Like, how do you keep an elder like?
You couldn't
Again,
keep Starfield in the wraps. Those leaked images came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we still haven't confirmed that yet. So that's that. They like I still haven't gotten. Even though we saw the one dude with the
shoulder patch. Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie will find a way to talk about Starfield. Maddie's great. But he had the patch on his shirt, and you're like, okay, dope. Like, and then made the connection. So it's just super hard to like keep something under wraps. Gameplay is definitely for sure. You can never go wrong with showing me exactly what I'm going to be doing in this game. And then what was the second one? I apologize, I didn't catch the second one. So he had gameplay.
She said that actual gameplay, bare minimum about the story, and surprise announcement. So bare minimum about the story, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Bare minimum for me. Show me the antagonist, show me the protagonist, some supporting characters. The Outer Worlds' trailer, I don't know if you guys remember when they were just talking to different characters.
Yes.
And then one character comes and smacks him over the head with a hammer or something like that.
And
So like that, in that trailer, they showed us a couple of supporting characters, showed us a little bit of gameplay, and showed us that we can basically just drop it and kill everybody. So
and that was a completely new IP, and that was all the information we really needed. And Outer Worlds came out fantastic, in my opinion. Maybe not for a Nintendo Switch, but it came out pretty fantastic. Now, I do want to go into another person. I'm sorry if I pronounce this name wrong. Saitum Adrenaline. I'm sorry. I love you. You're still special to me. He just says, the minimum is perfect for me. And we already talked about that as well. Just the bare minimum. Just give me enough information. But as we already established, that's really just for already established IPs. I think for new IPs, I think you need to sell me on why should I put my trust in this? A lot like Starfield or even Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds at least tell me it's an RPG. It's it's got these characters. You can make this many choices and blah blah blah. But also at that same time, bare minimum. Any thoughts about that? About his answer? We already kind of talked about it.
Yeah, we already kind of discussed that. I don't have anything. I had an answer for the other one, but you didn't ask me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Going back to it's my caddy. What do you think, Liz?
Well, you had brought up. I was just gonna say because you had brought up Unraveled. And I was kind of agreeing with Mike where it was like with Unraveled. It's a smaller game and you can get away with the same day, like the surprise announcement, because it's a smaller game. No one's paying attention to it in social media.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need that much hype. It's like you show it. It's like, oh, that's such a cute game. I think I'm gonna try and play it. Whereas something that's bigger has a much bigger following, Life is Strange or Elder Scrolls or something like that. You want to build that hype.
Fair.
And also, as Mike pointed out, it's a lot harder to hide because people are looking for that stuff. So that's all. Thank you.
I want to move on to the third social media answer that we have at Commander Nikki, who again says gameplay, like actual game footage. Go away with all those cinematic trailers that they don't actually show actual game graphics. And then she puts out two pieces of information. Setting and story information. So the setting of the story.
Yeah. And
one that I was interested in, what platforms it will be on. And I think that's information that's needed at bats. It's like, am I able to play this on the system that I have? Because some people are just hardcore PlayStation fans. They only play on PlayStation. What's a PC, they might say, and they only play on PlayStation. And other people are only on Nintendo Switch, and they need to know, like, what
should I even bother getting excited for this?
Yeah.
So
has there ever been a time where we were always questioning what platform it was on, or is that just they do a good job in telling us what platforms it will be on? What do we think? Mike, do you have any games that come to mind?
Disco Elysium.
Oh, okay.
Finally, it's coming to Switch.
Is it?
And I own it on PC, but it's with the Final Cut's eventually going to be here.
That's right.
The Final Cut comes, I think I would like to say somewhere around spring, if I'm not mistaken.
Think so. I think you're right.
2021. It's like April or something along those lines, but it's finally coming PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch. It's been on PC forever. So Elysium would be one. almost all of the Persona games. I don't know how they're not on current consoles.
I know.
Besides, of course, the PlayStation 5, but how are they not on Switch?
It seems perfect for that, you know?
Yeah. So it's like there's certain little games that I personally like just for the Switch.
Yes.
Like it's like I can play it on PC, like fine. Like another thing, I can't even use keyboard and mouse. Like
oh yeah, no.
But I use purely controller even on my PC. So it's like some games, and I'm like going off rails here, but back to the point. I think some companies do a good job of just being ready to have everything coming, or they'll say like what Doom does. They'll be like, okay, out on all current consoles, and then be like coming soon to the Switch. So at least bare minimum, you're telling the Switch owners, hey, still be excited, because nothing's worse than watching a whole entire trailer. Great trailer. Guess what? Not on the platform that I own. Okay. Hype for no
yeah.
I do like when they do put it out when they say coming to Switch soon. Like that's a thing. And I feel like that's Switch owners almost exclusively, other than, you know, it's a timed exclusive on PlayStation 4. It's coming to Xbox and it's ready for Xbox. You know, it's just coming soon. But for Switch, it's a completely different platform.
Oh, yeah.
Where they really need to, you know, work on the ports for that. But I like what you said, Mike, is that I hope at least they just put out the information soon on Switch. Or soon on Game Pass, or soon on PC, you know?
Yeah.
You know, just give that information just so you can still be a little bit excited, you know? Finally, I want to read the last piece of social media answers that I have. This is from Twofer, who is also, he's on the Maddie. Well, what's up?
That's true. I wanted to add something.
Go for it, man.
Transition. Companies like doing this too. I just remember this.
Yeah,
they'll do this. Sony had Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy. Super hyped for it, by the way.
Oh yes,
crazy Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter Lost Legacy. They had the trailer on their Sony PlayStation 5 showcase, right? Guess what? In the showcase, in the trailer itself, doesn't say coming for Xbox. It just says coming for PlayStation 5. You had to go to their Twitter account or WB's Twitter account.
That's
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
And there said it also coming to Xbox. I was like, why?
I mean,
so I just wanted to add that even companies like kind of shoot themselves in the foot by doing things like that.
Yeah.
Which I get you don't want to, like, from PlayStation standpoints, you don't really want to say like, oh, it's also on Xbox, but you know, come on. I would rather it be like best played on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like available on Xbox, best played on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's good.
Even though if it's a lie, we just talked about that.
Well,
yeah, exactly. I was about to say it too. I was like, what if they're bullshit? I apologize. Whoops.
Dang it, Mike. Strike one. You got 5 more strikes and then you're back on the podcast. But I want to read from, I thought you raised your hand like, oh, Twofer, I know him. But
I do know Twofer too.
Yeah.
both.
From both of things. But yeah, at Twofer, who again, you know, comments on the show frequently. Thanks, Twofer. You're a soul. You're a saint, is what I meant to say before dropping my phone. Scary moments.
Great.
But he says this: a lot of information. Pretty much everything short of story spoilers and other things that the development team wants you to discover. I want to read that again. Other things that the development team wants you to discover and figure out organically. Transparency has always been appreciated, at least by myself. Finally, he says, side note, I wish games wouldn't be hyped up for years. Let us know at most 6 months from release date, in my opinion. And I think that we're kind of spoiled. I think Twofer himself is a Bethesda fan. And I think Bethesda has kind of spoiled us with that kind of 6-month window. I think Fallout 4, going back to Fallout 4, that was a 6-month release
E3.
window.
Yeah,
it was E3 and then it came out November 11, 20, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So he goes into, you know, pretty much anything outside of what the developers want you to discover. And that kind of brings up another gray area point. It's like, they might want you to discover it, but do I want to discover it organically as the player? You know, it's like, great, you want me to know this information now, but as me, the player, I kind of want to figure that one out myself.
See, I'm thinking that in an opposite sense of like, who are you to decide what I should discover?
Yeah.
Like, what if what they feel I should know beforehand, I don't want to know beforehand. Like Mike was saying earlier, he's like, let me find out the love interest or whatever organically. Let me find out their story organically. But the developer doesn't see that as something you need to know organically.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to decide what I should know first?
Exactly.
Like,
stupid developers with their creativity.
It has nothing to do with their creativity, though.
It has nothing to do with their writing. It has nothing to do creatively.
No, the way they're advertising has nothing to do with their creativity or writing.
The advertising team.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. It's put whatever you want in it, but don't decide what I want to know beforehand.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. And then of course the other part he brings up is I don't want it to be hyped up for years. Just give me 6 months. Mike, I saw you shaking your head. You're shaming Twofer. You think Twofer should never comment on a show. We heard it here first.
Any of that.
Just putting words in your mouth. Just playing. What do you think, man?
It comes down to money.
Yes.
And sorry, if I can hype something up, like we just saw it with Cyberpunk, hyped it up for how long? We've been waiting 8 years for this bad boy. Yes, we know that the development cycle didn't start for another like 3 or 4 years ago or something.
Sure,
like
yeah.
It's a money thing. So if I can hype something up and get the most money out of it, regardless if it's wrong or right from a company standpoint, just from a company standpoint, because I wouldn't do it, but from a company standpoint, we sold 13 million and recouped on the first day.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Off of hype. Off of pure hype. We didn't even give you guys much. We just So yes, I agree with him that not hyping something up would be great, but also not hyping enough might mean that you don't get to get a second try at making a game.
I'm going to give you 2 words. Going to give you 2 words, Mike, and we actually reported on this in the top 3 gaming news of this episode. Star Citizen.
That's all hype. I don't know what people are doing. I don't know what people are doing in that game. They're still taking y'all money.
And that's what I mean. Like when you said that, like as long as you keep hyping it, the more money you get. Immediately, I thought Star Citizen.
Of course, from a business standpoint,
yes,
all the hype you can get is like, of course, that's what you want to do from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
As a consumer, though, for me, it could go either way. It's like, I'm super excited. If you keep talking about it, I'm going to be super excited for it, and you're going to remind me it's there. But also, kind of like, I can't think of any example off the top of my head. But when you are hyping a game for years and years, it's kind of like, okay, is it going to come out?
Yes.
And like, it's like you want it to be perfect. That's kind of you're edging on your over promising because you're making me think it's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't come out freaking awesome, I'm going to be real mad.
Fair. Yeah. And that's the thing. Go for it.
I'll give you guys an example.
Okay. Go for it.
We just talked about the Game Awards. What was Mass Effect doing in the Game Awards?
Oh my God.
Fam, nobody called you guys.
Yeah, no.
Go back to work.
And that's the thing. Like the Legendary Edition was fine. Like just give us that, and then they just said like, oh, by the way, it's no longer on ice. That's it. That's it. Like it's no longer on ice. That's pretty much all the information we got. It's like what you said, Mike. Nobody called you. Nobody cares.
Nobody called you. Nobody cares, yo. Like go back. Like you guys are one of the worst companies when it comes to dealing information and actually delivering. We just had Anthem of like 2 years back.
Yes.
By the way, you're talking to somebody who got burned on the same year. I tell everybody this. I got burned on Anthem, Jump Force, and Fallout 76.
That was in the same year?
Huh? All same year.
That was 2019, right? Yeah.
2019 or 2018. I don't know which one.
I can't remember which one. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oof. But yeah, burned all 3. Yeah, it was 2019, by the way. Yeah.
I still remember when I played the beta for Fallout 76. I still remember I got hyped because it was a new Fallout game. That stupid clockwork.
You were so hyped about 76 that every time I I told you, because I worked for a CPA, so I was working with the numbers a lot. And every time it was 76, I was like, 76! Because that's what you would do. You were like, 74, 75, 76!
76.
And so that's what was in my head all the time. That is how hype you were for that game.
I was in the gym just bulking up, just playing Country Roads like all day long. I was like, let's go.
You were so annoying.
And then when
that game.
When the beta came out, when that test demo came out, I was just like, we're not going to get burned. This is only a beta. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. My head just blew 70 feet in the air, but it's fine. It's a beta. And it turns out the entire game was a beta when it first launched.
Christ.
And now it's better, which, like you said, with Anthem, Maddie just put out a video, and you too are a Maddie fan, I guess.
Yeah.
He just put out a video of the fall of BioWare. I thought it was super interesting and actually followed the steps of how BioWare kind of fell from grace. And it was a very, very well put video. And what he puts out is that like BioWare needs a win. They desperately need it, which is why I think they came out and said, no, we got Mass Effect. It's I know Casey Hudson and Mark Dara, they left. It's fine. It's fine, guys. But look who we got. We got the original writers to Mass Effect. It's fine. We're good. They so desperately need a win.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they hyped it up in the Games Awards.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy? That's not even what comes next.
I know.
You could have given us a little bit of Dragon Age 4 to hype it up. That's what's next. If you need a dub so bad, what are you talking about? A game that's 4 or 5 years, 6 years in the future.
Yeah.
When you haven't even gotten Dragon Age in order.
I know. It's
just
ridiculous.
so weird. It's weird. And they just
so
I get so tight when it comes to like I try not to scream and be loud about like
oh, trust me, I was just loud this episode.
I was gonna say Adam doesn't try.
Maddie's good at being like showing emotion without like blowing out his microphone. Yeah. But I'm like, I get so loud. Like I have this very like my voice is just super like it's like high. Like I'm just a naturally loud person. So sometimes I've had reviews of games that piss me off, and I won't put them out because I'm gonna be super emotional.
Yes.
Like I'll give you guys one that came out last year. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
Pissed me off.
Okay.
Not because not for anything else, but just the way that they handle information, which kind of circles back to our and a lot of people told me that, it's because it's only a third of the game. That game is very good when it's like at its high point, like very good. But when it comes down to like the little thing, I have no idea who the fuck Cloud is. I cursed again.
Dang it, Mike.
No idea. I have no idea who Cloud is.
Yeah.
Or why should I care about Cloud?
Yeah.
Or why should I care about Tifa? They gave me absolutely bare minimum information, the least amount of information for those characters. Yeah. I know more about Barrett, and I know absolutely nothing about Sephiroth besides the fact that I'm not going to spoil it, but he wants to do something, and we'll leave it at that. But I was so mad by the end of the game. I'm like, this is 40 hours, and I know absolutely nothing about the protagonist. I know. Like just bare information, and it pisses me off because of it. And I had to redo the review because the first initial review was me tearing it up like I had it done months ago.
Yeah,
and I was like, I can't put this out because it's gonna be super emotional, and I'm playing it like I'm already chapter 13. I'm replaying it a second time to see if I just missed a lot of stuff. But no, it's just a lot of misinformation. They just withheld information.
That's so dumb. And I think that brings us to our closing thoughts section here. And I kind of want to close on this question here. And we can all go around the table. Me, Liz, TV Mike, going around the table, saying that, do we think that information is the key to the fun of the game? Do we think it's the key to having fun in the game? Or do we think that it's the introduction to get us to the game, right? So so to have Mike have the last words, we'll go first. Liz, what do you think? Do you think information is key to having fun in the game?
I don't think information is key to having fun. You're talking about pre-information, like before the game comes out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the key to having fun in the game. I think the information given while you're playing is what makes it, is the driving force of making it fun and interesting, is learning. I think information, like pre-game information, is what gets you to play the game.
Yes.
That's all that should be given before the game starts, is enough information to make you interested. Like, I don't think information is what will make the game fun.
Yes.
I think the information is what makes you want to play.
Yes. And I think it will make sure, and I think this is my closing thought on it as well. I think it will make sure that you know if you'll have fun in the game. The first, and I'll spoil it here. The first video we're going to be filming for the new channel is going to be your game is not an RPG, and I'm going to be talking about the information that's, people just say it's an RPG, and RPG fans go into it thinking that they'll have fun, but they don't know the definition of what an RPG is. I'm talking about the game developers and not the consumers who know what an RPG is.
Yeah.
I think information will make sure that you know that the game is fun for you in particular. Will you enjoy this game?
Yeah.
All Tony Hawk had to do is say, hey, Tony Hawk Remaster. And I was like, I'm going to have a blast, and I'm going to spend 1,000 hours in that game alone, and which I did.
Top 5 best game for me last year.
That's why you're here, Mike. That's the thing. It's just make sure that you, by the way, your video on Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 and going into why you love Tony Hawk 3, fantastic video. I'll get to his channel later. But that's the thing. I think my final thought is it's the key to making sure that you know that you'll buy into this game and have fun.
Yeah.
Mike, your closing thoughts. What do you think?
I think information comes down to just the way people just talk nowadays. So I think if people were very particular with what the words that they actually use, it would help a lot, because you can say, hey, we are an open world action adventure game with RPG mechanics.
Sure.
And that ruins the whole role playing aspect. I'll give you guys a perfect example. Cyberpunk 2077 touted themselves out as the biggest brand new RPG. You're gonna play this role, because that's what it comes down to.
Sure.
You're gonna play a role.
Yes.
In Cyberpunk, you don't really play a role. You get more Far Cry than you get, let's say, Divinity Original Sin, where you play a role. You have a role to play, and just in the verbiage that you're actually given when promoting a game, when talking about a title, people need to be very specific about it, because people are so easy to let whoops, I almost knocked down my monitor.
Oh, jeez.
Very easy to let astray. I get very animated with my hands. I apologize.
I'm the same way, man. Yeah.
They're very easy to let astray. So when you're giving out information and you're talking about a game, you want to be as specific as possible and as direct as possible, and say it, because it kind of, but I'm saying this, and I also know as a company, I want to lead as many people to my game.
Yes.
So companies will do this. They'll be like, oh, this is an open world fighting game. Yet there's this little one open world hub section.
Yes.
And that right there makes it so you can say in your title, open world fighting game, when in reality, it's a fighting game with an open world hub section.
Yes.
But the open world part of that calls for other people to come buy this game, because they're like, holy crap, I've never played an open world fighting game before. Let's buy it. And then they're like, fam, I just bought a bona fide fighting game with this little hub section. Yeah. And I feel lied to. So I say that companies will be able to use words like that, like keywords. There's if you guys look them up, just go down. There's a lot of keywords that a lot of companies use just to call certain people to buy their games. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But the point is, if you were just very specific, very direct, and just were able to know exactly how much information you want to give, but then everybody's different. Look how Twofer feels. He feels as much information as possible, and no 6-month hyping, and then we disagree, and everybody's going to be different about it. But for me personally, be direct, be specific, know exactly, have faith in your product.
Yes.
It's so it comes down to just awareness. What's the point of having 1,000 true fans and 10,000 that don't like you because you led them astray? What is the point? You're shooting yourself in the foot. And later on, when you come up with the sequel, because now you recoup, because that's what happens when you garner so much attention, you recoup.
Yeah.
Now you have a bunch of people that will never buy another product from you when you could have just, like, Fallout 3 did that. Fallout 3 and New Vegas kind of did that. So
yeah,
Fallout 3 came out, Fallout New Vegas came out, and then by the time Fallout 4, they already had this RPG, this action RPG fan base like set, and they let the fans just basically self-promote Fallout 4 to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, when in reality it wasn't. But that's neither here nor there. But that's what happens. That happened organically. They really didn't. Did it turn out to be something different from Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas? Yes, but the promotion of it was fan generated. Like, yes, he went on stage and said, "Yeah, it's coming in November," but it was organic because it was by us that we, the consumer, were the ones that hyped it up, and it sold like hotcakes. It's the best-selling Fallout game to ever grace the stage. So it all depends. Yeah, and cool part was they didn't lie about it.
That's true.
They didn't have to lie about Fallout 4. They told us exactly what it was. So
that is true. But I think that's a good way to end this show.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that take information for a grain of salt, take information to inform yourself if buying a game, and also the best way to get a lot of information about video games is Mike Fury's channel. I want to roll out the red carpet as we're closing out the show. Mike, where can we find you? What's your YouTube channel? What's it about? Any projects that we should be looking out for? Any plugs you want to do, go.
Alrighty. Well, Mike Fury, you can find me at Mike Fury, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Projects, I have Fallout. I'm sorry. I'm doing now for this year. I have like this plan of like releasing daily, even if it's multiple times daily. So it's like daily content, as much content as possible. Release the Hype, which is this brand new one. I released an episode where I was talking about the new Dragon's Dogma. That's one, and basically giving you guys all the leaks and information into one simple video. Wombo Convo, which is the one that you were talking about, which is just me basically grabbing the camera and saying, "Hey, let's talk about this." So I've done an episode about what Pokemon should do next. Tony Hawk, what should they do next for Tony Hawk, whether it's a 3 and 4 remake or a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6. And then reviews as much as possible, like even older like reviews. I'll do like remake. Still haven't released it yet, but there's a redo, remake, remaster for, I think the first game I'm going to do it for is GTA San Andreas.
Oh, okay.
So should they redo it? Should they remake it? Or should they remaster it? It's a little bit closer to what a review is, but it's just like, again, it's a throwback. And then like normal reviews, like I'm probably going to do Final Fantasy VII Remake very soon, and tech reviews as well. But Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then Hitman 1 and 2 in honor of Hitman 3 being released at the end of them.
Nice.
Cool.
I mean, that's a lot of content for you. If you haven't been sold yet, I'm going to be linking all of his information in the description down below. If you're listening on audio, if you're watching on video, doesn't matter. Go in the description down below. Go subscribe to Mike Fury. Got a lot of content planned out. And I will have a link to his social media pages as well. So definitely follow him on there. Mike, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us all the information that you got. But
thank you.
I mean, really, like, that's why we wanted to bring you on, for your energy, for your information, the knowledge that you got. So we thank you for coming on the show and spreading some joy here. And you're, again, this probably isn't the last time you'll be on the show. Like, let's put it that way.
Invite me at any point in time. I'm happy to come on. Thank you, guys.
Man. So let's end the show here. We thank you for watching this week's Games and Groceries podcast. You can follow us on social media at Game and Groceries or Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word. Again, pointing this out there, this channel will only be a podcast channel. We got a new channel coming in the works pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. The camera shut off.
I don't know if I should just turn it back on or not. We're going to go with no.
We're just going to end the show here. Thanks again for listening. Be safe out there. Wear your mask and have a good one.
Bye.